What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. So we got a quick one here, but David Lammy, it seems, is putting himself forward for the Labour leadership. His intention is to counteract what he calls Boris Johnson's populist ethnic nationalism. It's absolute nonsense. But we're going to take a look at the Guardian's article talking about David Lammy's possible bid to become Labour leader, which I'm sure you will agree adds to a nice little pool of possible candidates for us to go over once they all formally put their bids in. Because at the moment, a lot of them are just saying they are going to, but have yet to do so. We only have two so far, in Clive Lewis and Emily Thornberry, both of which stand absolutely no chance at the next election. The article reads, Tottenham MP says party should counter populist ethnic nationalism with a new civic nationalism. Which, I'm sorry David Lammy, but I really don't believe you can get yourself away from the ethnic debate. Every time I see or hear you on TV or anywhere else, something is always brought up about race. It continues, David Lammy today sets out plans to foster a new civic nationalism based not on skin colour, religion or ethnicity, but on shared values, as he lays the ground for a possible pitch at the Labour leadership. The Tottenham MP would become the first BAME leader of the Labour Party, were he to enter and win the race to succeed Jeremy Corbyn that will begin in the new year. And you see, this is the problem with a lot of these Labour MPs. They're all worried about being the first BAME or the first this or the first that, when in actual fact, voters don't give a shit about none of that. They care about what you're going to do for them, your integrity, and generally how you conduct yourself. Considering David Lammy runs around race baiting constantly, I would say that him running for the Labour leadership is just going to help Boris Johnson. Because let's be honest, David Lammy is not an idiot. He's a smart guy, but he constantly runs around race baiting, as I said, which makes him look stupid and is going to turn off a lot of voters. People are not interested in that pathetic shit. They have real issues to worry about on a day-to-day basis other than the colour of someone's skin or their own. Perhaps Lammy should learn this himself. Writing in The Observer, Lammy suggests he will make a decision on whether to run over Christmas, having assessed who best can counter what he calls the populist ethnic nationalism of Boris Johnson. The alternative to Boris Johnson's ethnic nationalism that Labour should offer is a civic nationalism, Lammy says. Rather than basing national pride on biological heritage, skin colour or religion, civic nationalism says that we can unite around shared values and institutions. Once again, another person trying to remove the nation state. Fuck off, you idiot. You've just lost the majority of the country there, because as we all know, and is kind of obvious to everyone, there are many groups that don't agree with each other on various different subjects, as we have seen in Birmingham and other places. And as for the bullshit about Boris Johnson's ethnic nationalism, I've never heard Boris Johnson say anything that could even be considered ethnic nationalism. So I don't know what the hell he's on about there. And his civic nationalism to me just sounds like a continuation of the woke culture the left have tried to drag us into as it is. He would just be slapping a different name on it and trying to sell us the same old bullshit. Because as we all know, not everyone shares the same values or considers the same institutions to be viable or relevant to them. It just doesn't work, Lammy. You can fuck your open borders and your no nation states right out the window, along with your possibilities of ever being elected Prime Minister. To foster this, we need to construct new spaces and places in which the UK's diverse peoples can engage with each other and belong. Well, there it is, the same old Labour mantra. Let's spend loads of money on public projects in the hope of doing something that is absolutely impossible. Because diverse groups of people will engage with each other on their own terms. They won't do it because you've told them to. Anyone with half a brain cell would just see that it's more of Labour Party's brainwashing tactics to control the masses. Lammy suggests a series of radical reforms, including a British Bill of Rights and a codified constitution, a new proportional voting system to encourage more compromise in politics. What he means by that is a proportional voting system that would often lead to a hung parliament, so, like Boris Johnson has now, can't just push through the withdrawal agreement as he did on Friday. Because as we know, there is a fair few Labour MPs who are particularly salty that they no longer have a say in the future negotiations, like they did thanks to the 2017 to 2019 treacherous Ramon in Parliament that we have just drained from the swamp. A universal basic income and a compulsory national civic service in which all young people would be compelled to take part. That national civic service sounds more like, to me, another one of Labour's attempts to brainwash the masses, namely the young. Lammy, whose support is strong in London, says he regards Corbyn as a friend, but is scathing about his failures, which he says were responsible for Labour's worst general election defeat since 1935. And in the beginning of that sentence there, you can see why Lammy has no chance of succeeding as Labour leader, because his support is strong in London, meaning his support is not strong anywhere else, and he stands absolutely zero chance of being elected Prime Minister. London is not relevant to Labour being in power. They need to get the rest of the country back on their side, and David Lammy is not going to do that, especially considering he says that Corbyn is a friend, even if he's scathing about his failures. But listen to the next line that he comes out with. It was not Jeremy's righteous belief in economic justice that lost Labour this election. No, it was partly that. He says it was his perceived worldwide view, failure of competence and mind-boggling decision to abdicate leadership on the biggest issue of the day. And yes, Lammy, you are correct on those points there, but you are missing the big and most important one. The Corbynated chicken is a well-known terrorist sympathising shitweasel at the end of the day. How many IRA members has he invited to the Houses of Parliament? When did he call Hamas and Hezbollah friends? This is my point. Never mind any of the other shit, Brexit and everything else just compounded it. You've heard Labour MPs say 4-1 Jeremy Corbyn was mentioned over Brexit. Corbyn and his IRA sympathies, along with his other bullshit that he's done throughout his political career, made him unelectable. But the Labour membership, in its infinite wisdom, decided to elect him their leader and do it again. Now you wonder why you've lost. To everyone else, it was kind of obvious. But I suppose the Maybot 2017 debacle actually gave Jeremy Corbyn some hope that people didn't hate him. As soon as the Tories got a leader that wasn't Maybot though, Jeremy Corbyn had absolutely no chance, as I had said many times in my videos. So yes, while Lammy was right in that little bit there, he is missing the most important point, which is of course Jeremy Corbyn himself and the sympathies he has towards his so-called friends. The article continues. To date, only 2 candidates have announced they will stand for the leadership: the Shadow Foreign Secretary Emily Thornberry and Shadow Treasury Minister Clive Lewis, both of who I said at the beginning of the video have no chance of winning a general election, so I'll happily take either of them two. Same as David Lammy, Jess Phillips, pretty much all of them at the end of the day. Boris has no reason to be scared of none of them. The Shadow Brexit Secretary Keir Starmer is preparing to announce his candidature in the new year, while Rebecca Long-Bailey, Lisa Nandy, Jess Phillips and Yvette Cooper are also considering entering the race. Shadow Education Secretary Angela Rayner, touted as a possible leadership contender, is more likely to stand instead for the role of deputy leader. Now, I don't know about you guys, let me know in the comments if you know any one of those people in that list that would actually put the fear of God into Boris Johnson, because to be honest, I really don't. None of them stand a chance in my opinion, especially if Boris Johnson gets it right over the next few years. Long-Bailey has yet to make any contribution to the debate over the party's future direction since the election, amid signs that the Corbyn wing of the party is at odds over whether to promote her as a continuity candidate who will take forward the radical economic ideas championed by Corbyn and John McDonnell, or as a more independent-minded figure who wants to move on from Corbynism. Well, I don't think it will really matter, to be honest, because she's already tarred with the same brush as John McDonnell and the Corbynated chicken. Even if she moves away from Corbynism, people are not going to forget. To me, that seems like once again Labour's considering the electorate stupid, like they will just forget what she has done and who she has backed for the last few years. It's not going to happen, I'm sorry. On Saturday night, a senior source close to McDonnell, who has long promoted Long-Bailey as his protege, said the Shadow Chancellor had made a conscious decision not to play any role in the leadership contest. Yes, because you know, you will sign, seal and deliver a defeat at the next election for whoever you help get the leadership. Same way as Jeremy Corbyn will. Either one of you two backing a candidate is going to instantly sink their chances at an election, and let me tell you, their chances are not great anyway. Supporters of other candidates believe the Long-Bailey camp is struggling to unite amid the bitter fallout following the election result, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually true. On Sunday, also writing in The Observer, Labour's former deputy leader Roy Hattersley makes the startling suggestion that if Long-Bailey is chosen, then moderate Labour MPs should refuse to accept her, despite the obvious truth that Jeremy Corbyn must take the blame for the worst result in almost 100 years. Rebecca Long-Bailey, his anointed successor, is the favourite to succeed him as party leader, Hattersley says. And, like I've said, please let her do it. But to be honest, I've said it already, please let any one of them win. I don't mind, I'll back all of them, because it's going to be epic. If she were to win, he says, genuine democratic socialists in the parliamentary party should strike back. The elevation of Long Bailey would provide an early opportunity to demonstrate they mean business. The cause would be best served by an outright refusal to accept the imposition of a leader who does not command their confidence. A formal protest with a recorded vote would be almost as effective. Emboldened, they must insist that the shadow cabinet is once again elected, giving its members an independent authority which they would not possess as leaders' nominees. Because as we all know, the Labour Party are in shit fits right now, fighting amongst themselves. Which is something a lot of us predicted would happen if Labour lost the election. Which of course they did, and now they're all fighting with each other. It's great news, and I absolutely love it. I hope they put Rebecca Long Bailey in, just so the Labour members revolt, and we can have a decent little chuckle at it. But to be honest, David Lammy staking his claim in the Labour leadership doesn't really help their prospects at the next election. He's two cheeks of the same arsehole to Corbyn and everyone else who they've tried to put in. A North London Remainer is not going to help their situation. To be honest, I don't think a Northern Leaver is really going to help them much either way. Because at the end of the day, people are not going to forget for a very long time what the Labour Party has done, regardless of who they choose as leader, are still going to have been part of that 2017 to 2019 Parliament, tarred with that brush, and so they should be. Undemocratic, traitorous fuckpigs, if you ask me. But on that note, I am going to end the video there, guys. I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar, and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell, and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I'll see you all in the next one.
And Corbyn neutral by Christmas.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors. Slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.